Operations Management 335. I know that one of the things when I took online classes that I missed was kind of the interaction and explanation among for a syllabus. And so to try to offset that, I'm making this video where I will excuse me, go through the syllabus, talk a little bit about the class, what's expected, and so on to try to help level set us so we start off on the right foot. My name is Andrew Sherwood. I'm the instructor for the course. Let's go ahead and dive into the syllabus. Syllabus is loaded within Blackboard. Hopefully you have been able to find that. If not, it's under the course syllabus and applicable documents tab. For our text, we're using Operations Management by Stevenson, the 12th edition through McGraw-Hill. You can purchase a lot of different options for that. But what's important is you make sure that you have the Connect feature. We're going to do some short math assignments within the Connect feature as well as use some of their material. So that Connect feature is important. Those are the ISBNs that have been provided to me by McGraw-Hill. So those should be accurate. In the event that when you're looking at it, something doesn't seem right, please make sure you don't purchase one without the Connect aspect. We do have to have the Connect feature. They also provided me with this Word doc here that describes how to best connect through your Blackboard piece to Connect so that you are linked between the two. It's important that you stay on top of this Connect feature because I had a lot of people that kind of put that off last term and they had some problems with their first few assignments and struggled to get that all hooked up. So that should be something that you're taking care of right away. Please make sure that you're purchasing the book with Connect and that you get your Blackboard profile linked to that Connect feature as soon as possible. It's not very difficult to do, it's just something that you don't want to space off. Required software, you pretty much just need Word, maybe Excel, but that Connect feature. This URL should take you to the online class, if you will, for Connect. Here are your prerequisites from the course. You shouldn't really be able to register without them, so I don't anticipate that being an issue. And then I go on to describe a little bit about the class. We're talking about operations management, some strategies, and some principles of it. We'll go into some things like just-in-time production system. We'll talk a little about Six Sigma, a little bit about project management. Unfortunately, operations management, I guess not unfortunately, but for better or worse, is an extremely broad topic because we cover everything that a company does to produce their product. So operations management is it covers a lot of different aspects. So none of the topics, if you think of it from a topic standpoint, maybe you don't like one of the topics, but there's certainly going to be some that you do like, or hopefully at least, because there will be a lot of them. Continuing through the syllabus, go into some of the expectations for the assignments. Here's the big part that people really care about because this tells you how to get a good grade. So there's discussion board every week, a brief discussion board, 10 points. The discussion board is essentially, I want you to look at an outside source, tell me a little bit about on the topic for the week, tell me a little bit about what the source said, make a post on it, include what your outside source is. Should only be about 2 paragraphs or about 200 words if you want to try to gauge where you should be at. It doesn't need to be a ton longer. The key is that it's either an outside source or alternatively to that, if you have a personal experience. Personal experiences add a ton of value to your peers because sometimes some of your peers aren't going to have some of that experience with the topic. So if you go through either an outside source or a personal experience, about 200 words on the topic, that's what I'm looking for. Initial post should be by Thursday with the subsequent peer follow-ups by Sunday. You need 2 peer follow-ups at least, and those subsequent responses should include either an outside source or some personal relevancy or some personal perspective on it. Those don't have to be terribly long, but they need to have some sort of substance to them. You can't just say, yeah, okay, or good post, I agree, that was neat. You have to have some sort of level of substance. Usually that's pretty easy to get. Probing questions help a lot too, to show you're trying to get a discussion going. A large chunk of the points for this course come in per chapter quizzes. They're short, they're 15 points for 15 questions, 19 chapters we're going over. So each week You'll have to do a short quiz. A couple weeks there's 2 quizzes, but not too many. You have 15 questions. They're all from the text, from the chapter in question, and I'm not even going to try to kid myself and say not to use the text. In fact, I'll actually openly encourage it. Have the text in front of you to hunt down the answers. The quiz isn't, did you memorize? The quiz is, can you find the answer and do you understand the content? So if you understand the question, and you have the text, you can usually find the answer. And that's 285 points. Certainly email me if you have any tech issues. Every once in a while somebody has a computer freeze up or something and I have to reset it. There's 2 short papers in the course on topics that I think everyone who goes into a professional environment should have a little bit of knowledge on, just because they're so common. And frankly, when I went through undergrad and my 2 different grad programs, I didn't really touch on it much, and I was kind of disappointed then when I started advancing in my career, having not had that knowledge background. So the 2 papers are one on Six Sigma and one on Project Management Institute, PMI. Six Sigma is looked at, I think, week 8 or 9, and Project Management is week like 14 or so. So during that time, you'll have a short assignment. It's a short paper, 3, 4, 5 pages. You don't even need to get to 5. 3 or 4 pages of substance covers it. We'll go through another video goes through those papers in detail, but that's a quick overview. Quantitative problems. Each chapter, with the exception of chapter 1, has a very short math section. This isn't a math class. I'm not that great at math, and I don't expect that you will be, but I just need you to at least understand some of the mathematical concepts associated with the practice. In operations management, some of those math concepts are important. I don't need you to be great at them. I don't need you to memorize them. I don't need you to be able to do them without some assistance. So the questions are through Connect, and it's literally just 1, 2, or 3 questions per chapter, and you can submit as many times as you want. So if you're wrong, there's not going to be any harm to it. No harm, no foul. Just keep going until you figure out how it works, and as long as you can show me you understand by getting the question right, you're going to get the points. 5 points per chapter, 18 short quizzes, because again, chapter 1 doesn't have one. And then of course the final exam. Your final exam is broke kind of into 2 segments. You have a practice test that is 30 points out of the 100, and that's something you can submit as many times as you want. I think there's some value in working through, even if you're wrong, as long as you eventually end with the correct answer, and that is shown in that practice test. Also, the practice test helps to make sure you understand and are ready for the final. So there's 30 points for a practice test, and then the 70-point final exam is 70 questions, and that's a little more standard format. The final for the 70 points, you get to submit once, as opposed to, with the practice test where you can do it multiple times. Here's the grade breakdown on what points are needed for what grade. There's a Excel for those that like to see things in that format, where it breaks down what each week is, what chapters covered, what the points for the week are. So that Excel is embedded within. Late assignment, I don't generally accept late work. Your initial discussion board post, that's something small, so I just go with the rubric for that, where I give a couple days. If you're going to be late on something, just reach out to me. I'm very understanding. I know we're in the online environment because it's more convenient, and maybe you have some schedule concerns that aren't as common. So if you're going to be late, reach out to me, but reach out to me in advance. Don't tell me afterwards, sorry. So with that initial Thursday post, they usually say, not a huge deal, maybe a tiny bit off if it's Friday or Saturday. But then when it comes to Monday, if you haven't done work and you haven't reached out to me, I'm going to zero out the grade. I am. So reach out to me in advance. Incomplete coursework. This is copy pasted from every Peru State thing, so I'm sure you've seen it. Academic integrity. I'm going to touch on this because I had some issues with it last semester. There's a difference between citing poorly because you're not great at APA format and not making an effort. If you don't cite well, but you show me that this is someone else's content, that's going to be great, and I'm not going to cause an issue. If you don't cite at all and present work as yourself, that's going to be academic integrity issue, and it's likely that you'll fail the class for it. So please don't put me in that weird situation. I really enjoy this adjunct work, except for this when that comes up. That's the only thing about this that I don't enjoy. And frankly, I do adjunct work because I enjoy it. So if that continues to become an issue, then that joy is gone, and I don't want to do it anymore. So please don't drive me to that. And that's something I've talked to Dr. Ghilardi about as far as how I should handle. So I am aware of that, and so just don't do it. Don't make it an issue. Here's your standard Title IX language as well. I went ahead and gave a very specific course schedule so you can follow it. We're in operations management, so organization is important. So I try to set the bar with some good organization. You'll see this within Blackboard as well, but it talks about what you should read, what you should look over, and what's graded for each week. Week 1's Chapter 1. You read Chapter 1. There's some PowerPoint links within the within the assignment tab. A little bit on the study outline, glossary. These things help you a lot when you're taking the quiz. So I would suggest maybe having a couple windows open while you're going through the quiz that have some of these things up. That'll help you. Because obviously the questions are based on the text, and so the questions then are going to be shown in these sorts of text-related documents. So I would suggest doing that. Week 2, same as week 1 except for Chapter 2. Most weeks are, week 1 and 2 are very common. You read a chapter, do the discussion board, do the math questions, and that's what the week is. Not the chapters, when we get down to week 4, where there's 2 chapters, are a little more difficult because it's just more work. It's double the amount of content, except for with the discussion board. There's still just one discussion board, but each chapter has its own little quiz and its own math questions. So on those double weeks, you probably get a little bit more slack on the discussion board posts. I don't grade those as strictly during those weeks because I know you have to do a lot of work to make sure your quiz grades are right. Continues through that same process. Week 5 is Chapter 6. Week 6 is Chapter 7. And we go through that way through most of the course. I'm going to stop here on week 8, as this is when the Six Sigma topics are kind of talked about. And so that's when the paper is assigned. But this is a double week, and I don't want you to just have the 1 week. So I would encourage you to look ahead at this Six Sigma paper so you know what's going on. And then I give 2 weeks for it to be turned in. Again, it's only a couple page paper. 4 pages or so should cover everything you need. And there's a very good description of the Word doc that's embedded there, so you'll always have it. It's also available in the course syllabus and applicable documents page. And I'll be recording a very short video on the Six Sigma paper as well. So watch that video when you get close, and it'll help you out a lot. Continues through Chapter 11, 12, Week 12, spring break. There's no class, so you don't have to do anything for Week 12. Just make sure to stay on top of it, have fun. I went on a couple spring breaks when I was in college. It was a great time. I highly encourage you to make the most of your ability to do that, because when you're in the real world there and older, and if you are a traditional student, or those that aren't will be able to attest to it. You won't get those types of opportunities when you're older, so live your youth, have fun. Chapter 14, 15, and week 13, that's one of those double weeks, so that's going to be kind of a more strenuous week. Chapter 16 is where we assign the second paper. It's on Project Management Institute. Again, just like with the Six Sigma, I'll have a more detailed review within the course syllabus and applicable documents, and there's the 1-page write-up on what I'm expecting. Week 15 is Chapter 17, and that is when the paper is due, just like with PMI, the Six Sigma. It's a 2-week. I give it out and talk about it, and then you have 2 weeks to do it. Turning it in early is certainly fine, but it's not necessary. Week 16 is a double week, and then week 17 is the final. So you have the two finals: the practice test, where you can submit it as many times as you want, and the final exam, where it's 1 submission, and a discussion board. That'll be really easy. It'll just be a recap. So that is a description of the syllabus. Hopefully there's some value here. I know that this was one of the things that I missed the most out of taking online classes was some of that interaction, and somebody kind of explaining it out. So I hope there's some value to you in this recording. I look forward to working together throughout the semester. I am a very good at communication. So if you having communication, if you want to call me, if you need to email me, go ahead. I'll respond. I don't. I know that this is online, but I don't want you to think it's like a self-study sort of thing. I am a professor here to help you. I want to help you succeed. So give me a call or an email. If you're going to give me a call, understand that I work a regular 9 to 5, if you will. So sometimes during the day I can't answer, but if you leave a voicemail, I usually have an opportunity during the day to return calls. So certainly give me a call or shoot me an email. Welcome to class. Hope everything goes well. Thanks a lot.